Big game ahead, big week behind. It is S&L, Landry, Cody Stoots with you. Texans taking on the 49ers on Sunday. By the way, the line has gone up. The Texans are a 2.5-point favorite. I'm just going to ask you, Cody, before we recap the week that was, get into something that DeMeco did that I think could be what we may look back on as when he could have lost the locker room. But I'm going to ask you first, how you feeling about San Francisco?
Not good. Not good. I don't feel good about this matchup against the 49ers. I feel like where they actually can move the football and where their offense is going to be able to get some things going is where the Texans actually have trouble stopping teams. You know, this is not a team that's super reliant on outside wide receiver success and things like that. So it's not going to be an easy time for the 49ers to pull this off, but they certainly have a chance. They're a well-coached team. Their players play really hard and do exactly what they're told to do. And they've got some really talented offensive weapons that I don't know how you account for.
Yeah, I really don't know how I don't know how they're is where they're at right now. I don't know how the 49ers have the record they do with all the injuries they've had. Like the equivalent of the injuries that they have right now would be CJ Stroud being out, Nico Collins being out, Christian Kirk being out, Will Anderson being out, Derek Stingley being out, and Azeez Al-Shaair being out. It's actually insane that they have the record they do.
Yeah, and like obviously some of those guys have played a little bit this year, but to be able to hold it together and to not have missed much of a beat either when their quarterback that they paid a ton of money to goes down and they're still able to cobble it together week after week with this offense and put up enough points. And even when guys start dropping like flies on defense, they're still able to defend people. It's really impressive. I don't believe it's going to last for them. Like at some point, the talent that's missing catches up to them. I just don't know that they're quite to the point where it's caught up to them here as they're coming to Houston.
Yeah, I don't think it has, and I think there's a significant coaching advantage that the 49ers possess, and I think the Texans actually have a significant talent advantage. I think if you switch the coaching staffs for this game, I think the Texans win by 2 touchdowns. That's how I feel. If you let Kyle Shanahan call plays for the Texans and you let Robert Saleh call the defense and then you let DeMeco and Caley coach the 49ers, I think that Shanahan and his staff win this by 2 touchdowns.
That low, huh?
Oh, well, oh, you think more. Yeah, I think it would be relatively high. So that is just kind of where I'm at. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think we'll know early, but here's my biggest concern. Shout out to everyone on the chat. We'll get to the soups in a sec. And I'm going to ask you this question. Does the success of Jackson Smith and Jigba, does that concern you when it comes to Christian McCaffrey? And let me explain this. There was a time where if you told me that an opposing team had just one guy that you really had to worry about outside of a quarterback, I would say it's 100% the Texans are going to handle their business. They're going to be fine, and it's going to be all good. That's what we thought JSN was. And even though the Texans defense did keep him in the game by forcing takeaways, he did pretty much do what he needed to do to get the job done, whether it be the game plan or not. And I think, I don't know that the 49ers necessarily have won because I think George Kittle is going to be a problem too. But does the game plan that they had against JSN and the lack of success they had, does that concern you when it comes to Christian McCaffrey?
Yes, because they didn't try everything that they could have tried to stop Jackson Smith and Jigba. They just relied on what they thought was going to work. They relied on their initial plan and didn't adjust or change or really. I mean, we wanted to see a large portion of time Derek Stingley following Jackson Smith and Jigba, pressing him at the line of scrimmage, and we did not see that in this game for a large stretch of the game. It was very irregular, if ever, that they pressed Jackson Smith and Jigba. So they opted for a different plan and didn't, as it wasn't working, didn't utilize all the tools that they had. So I would think that the same thing may occur against Christian McCaffrey, and he's a tougher player to match up against. With the skill set players that they have. Like wide receiver, you put your corner on him. Running back can catch the football really well. Like, are you putting a linebacker on him? Are you putting a a nickel corner on him? Like who are you putting on him?
Yep. Yeah. And that's the concern I have. And that's really the concern I have with Kittle is what does it look like if they stop Kittle? Like how does that happen? Do they put Jalen Petrie on him and think that that's going to work? Do they think that the linebackers are going to hold up? Do we maybe see a little bit more EJ Speed and Christian Harris with that opportunity? Because the last time that they faced, I think, pretty much the last time that they faced a tight end that was just like a complete game breaker, Travis Kelce basically revived what we'd seen all season from him. So this is George Kittle at this point is better than what Travis Kelce was. And I know that we've talked about Azeez Al-Shire working on coverage and all that type of stuff, but this is going to be a big challenge for him. And I just wonder, how do they approach this? How do they attack George Kittle? Speaking of Azeez Al-Shire.
Well, attacking Kittle too, though, like even if they have like we're not going to man him up. We're just going to we're going to play zone. You play zone against these guys, they're going to pick you apart. McCaffrey in space with some room to work. Mac Jones not having to, make a risky throw or make a tough decision. That they're going to get picked apart if they do that.
Let's hear from Azeez. He's played for Saleh and he's played for DeMeco. Let's hear what he had to say about the difference between those guys.
What would you say the differences are between Robert Saleh and DeMeco Ryans?
One's black and one's not. I don't know. I think
and similarities too.
I think they both just have their unique ways of being able to draw people in and want to play for them and want to go hard for them. You see that with the group that they have right now in San Francisco, where most guys, you come into the season, you wouldn't even know you would never guess Fred Warner wouldn't be playing. Obviously some of the guys and pieces that they're missing, Nick Bosa, and now to see the guys that are still there but still playing just as hard, if not, just as consistent or whatever the case may be. That just shows the type of mentality that Saleh has, and it's no different with DeMeco.
Saleh cusses a little more.
You said what?
Saleh cusses a little bit more.
Nah, definitely I wouldn't say that at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that potty mouth DeMeco?
Matt Burke did. Yeah. Does that mean DeMeco cusses a little bit behind the scenes? I don't know. I know that Matt Burke said the biggest difference was Robert Saleh cusses a little bit more.
I could see that.
Yeah, because he worked with him before. Yeah, the Kittle thing will be interesting. And it'll be interesting to see how they attack Christian McCaffrey as well. Let's go to the super chat here on S&L. We are 2 sleeps away from the showdown against the Niners.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Waylon says, watching the depleted Chargers offense put up 37 makes me hate this coaching staff even more.
The Chargers had a little bit more juice to last night. They got Joe Alt back initially for this thing. I know he was banged up and they were still kind of working him through on the sidelines. But yeah, they haven't had issues putting up points with guys in and out of the lineup there in LA. But they've got a really good offensive staff out there and they've done a really good job out there. And their quarterback's really good too. So it's not quite the same situation that Houston has. I think they would say, man, they've been really good on defense despite whatever challenges they've had defensively. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, Herbert's way better than Stroud is, and Harbaugh and his offensive staff is way better than Nick Caley and everything that they're putting together. So that's definitely a huge difference there. The super chat, HDAV Traveler, afternoon, Landry, Cody, and friends. It's Friday. It is Friday. We've all made it to the weekend. Enjoy this Friday. Enjoy your weekend. A lot of college football, some fun college football tomorrow. And, of course, the boys from the Bay in on Sunday. David in the super chat, oftentimes the simple answer is the right one. Coaching is the problem on offense. Yeah, DeMeco Ryans this week said that football is simple. You don't try to overcomplicate it. And I do wonder if there have been times where this offense, has been overcomplicated. They've tried to do too much. They haven't focused on, hey, let's just get some of these basic things going and then just kind of keep them going. I know Seth Payne had mentioned, hey, maybe they try to do too much with the wide receivers after the snap. That's led to some of the disconnect between CJ Stroud and some of these receivers. And who knows on this offensive line if they're, if they've kept it too simple or they've tried to do too much with the. I mean, they could coach the crap out of them. They could just roll the ball out there and let them try to go block. I don't know if this O-line's stopping anybody. So that's another, huge conversation piece and a huge conversation point about simplicity. That's a talent issue on the O-line. Sid's got a super chat. Only way we can keep drives alive and score is if CJ runs the ball and moves the chains. Usually he does it in playoff or fourth quarter. Please ask him. Yeah, they have had some moments where CJ's taken off and, it's easy from the sky cam behind CJ Stroud to see, but on the play where he almost had the safety, if he just takes off, to the left and just goes through that hole, you don't have the safety situation. Instead, he kind of did the float back and try to extend the play and throw the ball away, and then he got sacked and almost had a safety. So there have been some moments where CJ hasn't taken what was there and run the football, and there's been some moments where he has run the football really well. But yeah, they could certainly use a lot more. And you know what Herbert's doing the past few weeks when his O-line's been a little bit of a mess? He's been running the football. He's been taking off and using the legs. CJ's, he's not Lamar, but he's not a statue back there that can't take off. I cannot hear you.
I got raided by the ghost of DeMeco. The ghost of DeMeco Ryans.
They're trying to silence my guy.
They are. They're silencing me. I'm telling you. I'm just kidding.
It was sabotage.
But I do really, really, really get excited about this game. I really, really am pretty intrigued to see how this whole thing goes, what goes down, all that. But the thing that I do wonder is there a chance that DeMeco Ryans perhaps lost the team this week? And I think if they win the game, I think it can solve things. But I think this was a really bad week for DeMeco, and it was a bad week for the Texans. And if we just go back, I think we go back to Wednesday where I think this happened. Monday, obviously, we had the game. Weird game plan with Stingley and JSN. Very strange. Tuesday, probably the worst press conference we've ever seen with DeMeco Ryans. Just completely paranoid. Energy vampire, honestly. He is what he says he doesn't like. He's an energy vampire. And then on Wednesday, DeMeco basically says, and I'll let the people decide, but he basically says that it's all on the players and the coaches do everything perfect. Like that's pretty much what DeMeco Ryans said. If you don't believe me, I'll let you decide for yourself.
Yeah, the question is, hey, if you said it's not, if the guys aren't doing what they're coached, why? What's going on here? And this was DeMeco Ryans' answer.
I'm figuring out why things are happening. It's always baffling as a coach when you go through and you practice a certain thing and you work it a certain way and guys get in the game and do something completely different. Well, that's being disjointed. Like we got to be on the same page and not on the same page like we don't know what we're doing. We just got to do what we called. We got to run what we call. Right? The techniques we work, the things we established throughout training camp, we got to do that, right? And when we do that, you'll see we operate efficiently. We are able to be in the right spot defensively, special teams-wise. We're able to get our blocks done the right way when we just execute what we practice all week, right? You can't get in a game. So I told our guys today, you can't get in a game and overcomplicate football. I know football can be a complex game within a game, but to me, football is simple. And you make it simple, you keep it simple, and allow guys to go play fast. All right, and that's what we've done, but we don't need to make things up. We don't need to try to do something or press and make a play. Just be like, we just have to stay with what we've been coached to do it the right way every single time. When I say it's one snap at a time, that's what I truly mean. It's not, I need to make this big play. You need to focus in one snap at a time, do exactly what you're coached to do. When we do that, we play well. When we get outside of that and we try to do more, that's when we don't play well. So it's not complicated to play this game. We don't need to make it that way. Let's play fast and let's play fun.
Okay, so that's basic. I mean, it's basically our practices are perfect. We put them in the perfect position, and they just got to figure it out. That's a player's coach talking. Like that. That's balancing a player's coach with someone who is not going to take the blame for anything. And the Stingley thing has been interesting because I think the biggest beef for a lot of people was we expected Stingley to guard JSN, and I never said that DeMeco said that he pressed him. I said what my argument has been and has maintained is it's asked backwards to say, when asked about not pressing, to say our game plan was to get hands on him. And Derek Stingley said it to DJ Bieneme. It's hard to be 8-10 yards off someone and tell him to get hands on him because you have to worry about penalties and stuff, and you're kind of fighting a downhill battle. To me, like when DeMeco says, and Stingley says that he loves to press, and Kamari says that they love to press, and DeMeco doesn't ask them to press, but ask them to put hands on him. It's like me saying I'm going on a diet, but all I do is go buy frozen pizzas and ice cream.
Is that why I haven't lost weight?
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know what that is about, but between that and the quote that he had right there, which I'm sure a lot of players saw, DeMeco basically said everything we do is perfect and the players aren't doing what we ask them to do. Now, the other thing about it is this, and this is the other thing that I've noticed about DeMeco is
I've one more thing about that comment though.
Okay.
Because sometimes we don't always take coaches at face value at the podium. Sometimes for whatever reason, they decide to obscure what they truly feel or things like that. But from that comment, what he said, I have to take him at face value that that's exactly how he talks to the players, because it would be even worse if he said something different to them and then at the podium said that. Like if he wasn't saying that behind closed doors and then went to the podium and said that, that would be even worse. So I have to assume that's exactly how he's talking to the players as well.
Yes, I would assume that too. Like I would, and I think that's kind of the way that he is functioning. I forgot what I was even going to say about the whole DeMeco thing, but it's an interesting mindset to take to assume that. But I also think that DeMeco has a tendency to be very passive aggressive and generalize direct feelings. So I don't know. Maybe he's just talking about CJ Stroud there. I mean, maybe it wasn't really a Stingley thing. Maybe it's a CJ Stroud thing. Because I do think it's possible that they think that CJ Stroud isn't helping the offense and that. So maybe it's indirectly a CJ Stroud thing and he means someone specific. And I go back to the rant about media sucking when he was clearly talking about one person. So I don't think DeMeco really comes out and says what he believes a lot of the time. So maybe that was about someone specific instead of the entire team, which he's kind of shown that he's willing to do.
He goes scatter shot instead of precision.
Yes, I think that's a possible thing.
And we know he feels like CJ can do a better job. He said as much. CJ can throw hot routes to make the protection better. He can get on the same page with the receivers to make protection better. Like we know he feels like there's elements of CJ's game that could get better, but you know, if he felt like that was something that he should have narrowed down to just Stroud, hey, do what we're telling you to do. My question, like, if DeMeco's telling the defense that and the defense isn't doing what DeMeco says, I'd be like, what are the defenders doing? Like, what? Like, why would you listen to DeMeco Ryans? If it's a problem not listening to the offense, like, how can I trust this guy that's putting the plan in?
Oh, I think like I never thought that he said that he told him to press like that. I think that what DJ was saying and what you and I were saying and what Seth's reaction was it didn't happen. And if you say that your goal is to get a hand, like in other words, if I'm an offensive coordinator, like to put this in like football terms instead of like refrigerator terms, like if I'm an offensive coordinator and I come out and say, hey, this week I want to run up tempo and I want to run as many plays as possible. But then you see us huddling the whole game. You're kind of wonder like, what? Like you wanted to play up tempo, but you huddled the whole time. So that was what my thing is. I'd be damned to like question DeMeco Ryans as a defensive coordinator. I would say though, like his biggest mistakes have been involving Stingley. Like the Amari Cooper game comes to mind where you kind of wondered, well, why wasn't he shadowing him? And when Stingley comes out and says, regardless of what DeMeco did or didn't say, I like to press and they're not pressing, then That's the thing. But what the game plan was never in question. It's just if that was your goal to get hands on him, it's a weird game plan to have when he's 10 yards off. So that's the problem that I have with DeMeco. That's my confusion.
And you know what? If you try it and it doesn't work, you find out that's not the way to play JSN, you can adjust in the game.
Yeah, and they did not.
Swarm.
Sid, Texans fan. Only way we can keep drives alive and scores if CJ runs the ball. I read that one already. Chase, will we address the Cohen video showing accountability versus what we've seen at the podium this week?
Yeah, he took the blame about the play call and said he's got to do better and all that.
There's a fourth down call. So I think he's in front of the entire team in an auditorium. He shows a fourth down play call, and he says, guys, this wasn't my best moment. Trevor and I had just talked about this, and we ended up doing this, and I didn't like this. And then like some running back spoke up and was like, oh, coach, I got to do this. And he's like, I appreciate you saying that. And I know Trevor thinks the same thing, but I got to put you in a better position. And I was like, okay, pretty cool. And you and I both talked about how we like what Liam Cohen's doing in Jacksonville and have some belief that he's better than some of the bozos they've had over there. And, I don't know exactly the origin of where that is that's something the Jags have to put that out at some point. Like that's not somebody like sneaking in there. So it's like there is a little bit of like look at our coach type thing, like look at our guy. But it's also kind of cool to see.
Yes. It is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, coaches can take fake blame.
And to be fair, Kaylee at the podium said a couple times this week that he should have done better in this situation, that situation.
Yeah, but he's not specific. Like it's almost like saying sorry, but not saying why. And I'm not sitting here saying they like owe an apology. I'm just saying like it's empty. And it's also funny. Like DeMeco, I think he lives in a fantasy world where, and I have soured on DeMeco. Like I really have. I think because when you come out. When you come out and say, I mean, it's embarrassing. Like he's embarrassing himself. Like it's over paranoid. But the thing that I think is funny is, and I don't know if he just thinks we're all dumb. I don't know if he's like blinded by like the paranoia of not wanting to say anything. But like, just think about this. Like, think about the things that he said, and I'm trying to like lay this out as clear as possible. But like. So the quote that we just played where he basically says the players got to do what the coaches tell them to do. We basically said practice is perfect. Like everything we teach them to do is there. It's simple. Like they just got to do what we tell them to do. Like he literally said that. That's not a misquote. That's what he said, right?
That is a good summary of his explanation.
And then at the end of his Tuesday presser, he says, yeah, just put it all on me. Yeah, it starts with me. It's my fault. Dude, you just said it wasn't. Like it's not, you don't really mean that. Like you're saying that it's fake accountability, but you're also saying everything that I do is perfect and I put him in the right spot. So that doesn't make any sense. Like, and I don't know if it's just he's been so fortunate to where he's so good at what he's done to where he gets away with like this type of stuff. I don't know if maybe it's just like the paranoia or whatever, but and maybe it has to do with losing, because losing sometimes, maybe this is the stuff that he's always done. I don't think so. I think there's been a weird change of him like this year. Like I think this year there's been like a clear weird change, or last year really when stuff started going bad. Maybe he's just a front runner, but I think it's just weird to say, yeah, put it on me, but then say everything that I do is perfect. It's weird. That's crazy. Like I don't know how the world works like that.
Not just everything he does, but everything the offensive coordinator, it's been a huge disappointment, does is perfect. Special teams coordinator who had a rough week, everything he does is the right thing.
Now, if he just came out and said, and maybe this is what he wants to say, but he can't. But if he just came out and said, look, if CJ Stroud executed what we told him to do and like helped us out a little bit, we'd be a better football team, then it would make more sense. But it kind of goes back to him wanting to like say and do certain things, but not actually come out and say it with his chest. It's just kind of what it is. It's just kind of, it's not exhausting. I actually feel bad for him because I don't think that he needs to do this. Like I feel bad that he feels like he has to go up there and be this weird.
Yeah, This was a good week for we got to coach it better. Instead, it's they got to listen better.
But put it on me.
But put it on me.
But put it on me. They got to listen better, blah, blah, blah. But just put it on me.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Chance Harris says, in Texans history, has the offense looked like this, and how do we come out of it? This doesn't feel like anything changes until next year. The offense has looked like this.
Yeah, it looked like this against Miami last year, Baltimore, Kansas City in the playoffs, Jets. Yeah, the offense has looked like this before.
Titans
wasn't that far away. Oh, yeah, the Titans game where they inexplicably couldn't run the football because they tried to run into the Great Wall of Nashville.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten extremely weird to where Frank Ross is having, and I went on this rant yesterday, so I won't make people sit through it again, but Frank Ross won't even say that he went with Braxton Berrios like that. He corrects you. Why'd you go with Braxton Berrios? Well, I wouldn't say we went with him. What? Like what would you say then? Like, did you not go with CJ Stroud at quarterback?
So you started Braxton Berrios at punt return. Well, I wouldn't say we started him. He was just the first one out there and the only one that went out there. It's like, oh, okay.
That was crazy.
My favorite was when he said that aggressive was semantics when Kaimi said it was aggressive. That's another thing that's popped up too, is the messaging from the players and the coaches has been pretty different on a couple of things.
Well, Kaimi said what he did, and what he did was really dumb. Like, it's not, there's no sugarcoating it or anything like that. Like, what Kaimi did was dumb. It's just, it's strange that was even an option, but I was like the Frank Ross, like the kick thing, I was just kind of over because I had a grasp of what they did. But then the way that he explained it, I don't like, do you think, because this is not him, man. Like, we know him. Like we know him very well. Like, he's been on this show. We raised the people, and I do mean you people. We raised like a couple $1,000s for his charity. Like, we know Frank Ross. Like, we've covered Frank Ross the whole time. He's never been a weirdo.
I think back to last year, Robert Woods catching the ball, a fair catch on like the 4-yard line or something like that. And like that Wednesday, or that Thursday after, we asked Frank, and he's like, yeah, we have rules. That was one of those moments where we didn't follow that rule. We shouldn't have done that. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm not, if Nick Caley gives me some like maze of answers that I've got to like try to determine how he answers the question, like that's one thing. If Matt Burke gives me nothing because Matt Burke's not really in charge of a lot, that's one thing. But like Frank has gone up there and said, we did not do this right on special teams. And then he wouldn't explain and take accountability for the fact that they didn't do things right on special teams against the Seahawks.
Yeah, like just look at this, and I'm actually going to put out a whole video on this because it's just I honestly felt weird. Like I honestly was like it was really strange. I felt like I was in a weird dream. I'll play this, Stoots, because I'll stop it early. But like, this is really simple. Like, this is what when I talk about the weird paranoia, and if you're this paranoid in any walk of life, like I just don't see how this doesn't impact your everyday life. But listen to this. This is just the weirdest thing of the year.
How did you arrive at the decision to go with Berrios at punt return instead of Knoll?
I don't think there's a decision to go with anybody. I think every year you guys have asked me, hey, how do you feel about?
What do you mean there's not a decision to go with? Like that's not like that's a fact. Like, I'm not like it's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. You're not like you literally went with him like that. I've tried to like I'm shocked that Frank Ross is that weird now. I don't know what's going on. I want to get past this.
And it's not like there wasn't a simple answer. Like, hey, Braxton's a former All-Pro. We were hoping to get something out of him, and he was active, and we put him out there. And Jalen still was on kickoff, and they didn't kick the ball to Jalen. And
then he said Jalen blocked on kickoff. So, but I don't know. Like, you went with him. Yeah, like, that's not me trying to back you into a corner or anything. Like, you know me. Like, I've grilled you before. You went with him.
Here's the funny thing, though. Jalen ended up blocking on kickoff Because they didn't kick it to him because he's really good at returning the football.
Yeah, that's typically what happens.
So maybe you should have given it a situation where they could only kick it to him on punts. But no. Let's put the guy that's been a healthy scratch for the past 4 weeks.
How is that a weird thing? I wouldn't call it going with him. You went with him. Like, it's not. I'm not even trying to. I'm not even.
Let me hold on. Let me step into DeMeco's shoes here. Talking into the microphone is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't need to go up there and overcomplicate talking about the football team. And when you do overcomplicate it, that's when you make mistakes. That's when you try to do too much. That's when somebody's trying to explain something in a way that doesn't make sense. Talking about the football team is simple at the microphone. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, you went with him. It's weird. Like that is not even, that is, I don't know what's going on. Like, they got Frank, man. Frank got bit.
They got him. No, they got Frank.
He got bit, man. Frank got bit. And now we're on to San Francisco.
I have one more funny analogy. Is punt return kind of like, in middle school when it's like, who wants to clean the erasers? And the first person to get up there can clean the erasers. The first person to get out there is the punt returner. Barrios just sprints on the field. Noel's like, oh, shoot, you got to get it next time.
I wouldn't say I went with him. Okay, well, what would you say, my friend?
That's like somebody tries to get really semantic, yeah, it was just very semantic. I wouldn't say I went with him. He just ended up there. He just appeared as the punt returner. Oh, okay.
Zach Rose on the chat says the first player to raise their hand gets to play. Yeah, they do seem to want to give everyone opportunities and get looks at guys. There's a lot of guys they want to get looks at.
Braxton in the back with his hand up, just like, the kid that would have his hand up and he just would hold it up like this. Braxton in the back. I want a punt return. Okay, Braxton, you can punt return. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. Football's simple. You know what else is simple? Talking into the microphone, and you've overcomplicated it this week.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just really, really confused by that. Don't get it. Frank Ross. It's crazy. They got Frank Ross.
They got Frank Ross. Or Frank's always been this guy. He's been done a good job hiding it.
No, come on. Now you're just taking it too far.
He's a Patriots and John Carroll guy, just like all the other.
Come on, you're taking it too far, man.
Agents of destruction over there.
Yeah, it's a weird thing going on there. Winning would help them a lot. Do you think the guard rotation continues? That's been another topic this week. That I don't know. Like, which is weirder, if it continues or if it stops? Like, what if it stops and then they win? What if they just go with juice and then they win?
You haven't won any games where you've rotated guards, so you started one this game. How did that feel?
Yeah. What does that which is weirder?
It is 100% weirder to continue rotating the players. 100%.
I also think next year, I know that DeMeco talks about evolving and how important it is. I honestly think they should play all the starters 4 quarters next preseason, because there's a lot of guys they want to get a look at in the regular season, and it's like, just get a look at them in the preseason. I want the starters playing all 4 quarters at this point, because if you need to get a look at these guys, there's no excuse to these guys. We're just playing from beginning to end of preseason like that. I've never heard a football team that still has a lot of season left and they have opportunity to reach their goals. I've never heard a football team say, we just want to get a look at this guy as much as they do.
Yeah, and nobody on this staff, not one of the offensive, the offensive lineman could say it because it's a different, but if Nick Caley or DeMeco Ryans or Cole Popovich ever talks about cohesion as a necessary piece of the offensive line, I might explode. And again, one, I think this is just one of the silliest things going on in the offensive line across the National Football League, but it continues, like they are actively doing things that continues to hack away at any credibility they have about talking about the offensive line.
Well, they've never had any of that.
Well, then they're going into the negative. They're overdrawing their account on offensive line with this bullshit.
That's already done. Shaq Mason's still getting paid. They've already overdrawn the account.
Well, then they're going into bankruptcy.
They're paying some Tunsil too.
Yeah, they're going into bankruptcy with this offensive line conversation.
Yeah, that's a fact. Charles says the Texan staff doesn't care for the media or the reporters. That's a fact. We know that. Or the fans, for that matter. So, yeah, I think you can add the fans there. I've said that. DeMeco has no respect for fans or media.
Wish my goatee looked like Charles.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's a fact, Charles. There's no doubt about that. Can't disagree, my friend. Can't disagree. It is what it is, though. When you're winning, it's all good. When you're losing, not great.
This team needs a win bad. They need to come out of the bye week and just have the mess that they had on Monday night. They need a win bad.
No Nico or Kirk. How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm a little excited because that forces Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins to be out there a little bit more. Now, do I expect Xavier Hutchinson, Jared Wayne, and Braxton Berrios to play over them a little bit? Sure, because that's what they've shown us, and I can't trust anybody on offense. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Noel and Higgins can bring to the table with a little bit more on their plate.
Again, let me just remind everyone that Brandon Ayuk hasn't played all season. Ricky Pearsall's out.
He's basically not played all season.
Their starting quarterback, who they just played, is out. Their elite defensive end is done for the season. The by far best linebacker in football is done for the season. They have a starting corner out. Their starting center is out.
Mm-hmm.
So Mac Jones is banged up, their backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to hear an excuse about Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. Like there is no excuse for that, which brings me to this to kind of connect it, Stoots. How worried are you about the coaching mismatch?
This is probably one of the bigger, like if you compare your offensive guy to their offensive guy and their defensive guy to your defensive guy, like this is probably one of the bigger gaps that they're going to deal with over the course of the entire season. Like Kyle Shanahan versus Nick Caley and how good they do things, like not even a comparison. And then if you're comparing Saleh and Ryan's, like Saleh has done it at a really high level for a long time. And DeMeco's got like some success, but it's not, I don't think it's quite the same as Saleh and what he has done and how Saleh's cobbled it together with, bubble gum and duct tape here for a couple of weeks. And then you start sicking those guys, you start crossing it. And it's like, Kyle Shanahan's got to know what DeMeco likes to do, what he wants to do, how he does things, how that defense succeeds, where the weak parts are. And then Saleh versus Caley, I mean, that's light work for him.
Yeah, I think DeMeco can hold his own. I really think they just have better players, but the coaching does matter. So I don't really.
Well, all this week, they told us the coaching and listening to the coaches was the most important thing. And I believe the 49ers can listen to the coaches, and they've got better coaches.
Way better.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
DeMeco must not have like a very strong network. It's kind of weird. Like for how respected he is for like the teams that he plays for and the guys that he coaches, like you would think he'd have a stronger network of coaches. The Rhino says, got a patty melt from Whataburger. Good choice. My wife asked why I decided to go with it. I said I didn't go with it, but this particular hunger called for it. So he didn't go with it. Yeah. See, you're Frank Rawson. Let's start Frank Rawson at Spanky's, which by the way, S&L going to be at Spanky's next Friday, a week from today. When I order the pizza, ask me why I went with the pizza. And I'm going to say, well, I wouldn't say I went with it. That's called Frank Rawson. That's your video. Everybody that goes there in order, you got to go with the video. Hey, why'd you order the Hurricane? Why'd you go with the Hurricane? I wouldn't say I went with it. Frank Rawson.
Frank Rawson.
Landry, why'd you go with the red champion hoodie? I wouldn't say I went with it. You know,
I have lots of hoodies, and you guys ask me about my hoodies. And we talk about the various hoodies. And
Frank Rawson, baby. That's a new verb. Frank Rawson. But I was I forgot what I was saying before that about DeMeco, but who knows? I've been saying a lot about DeMeco today.
The coaching tree and what he can draw from.
Yeah,
and,
it's weird because that's the one thing I like about Josh McCown is I'm almost certain that Josh McCown would have like a strong network. Like I know he's young, but I feel like he would have a very strong network. He's been like 12 organizations, quarterback coaches, all that, like players, teammates, all that. Like I think Josh McCown, like when if he gets an opportunity, I think he's going to have like a strong network. It's weird that DeMeco basically just takes on these coaches that were already here. And then whenever he brings in an offensive coordinator, it's like, all right, we're going to bring you in. And I don't know that Nick Caley has a network either, but it's like, you're going to keep the running back coach. You're going to keep the tight end coach. You're going to keep the offensive line assistant coach. The quarterback coach is going to stay too, but we want your system. It's like, okay. Like where are these guys that DeMeco is hiring, you know? And I don't think, I think if he could, he would, but that might actually kind of speak to things too. Like there's not that strong of a network.
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of Caserio's buddies on the staff.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is another, hey, they haven't put the rookies on the field. Well, is there a chance the rookies aren't ready? Okay, well, then that's on the wide receiver coach. Who's he been? Ben McDaniels. He's been here for years. Like, it's, they haven't changed that in a long time. I mean, it's just the O-line's not ready. Well, they promoted a guy from last year. The O-line last year? Yeah. It was just different. It's a different system, though. Like, oh, well, it's still not very good.
That's got to be tough, though, when you don't have like a real network. What do you do? Like, how do they do this? Is there like a football coach LinkedIn? Like if DeMeco Ryans wanted a new, or is it just word of mouth? The agents find out. Like, is it like, all right, like let's say hypothetically, I'm not saying he will, but like let's say they say bye Danny Barrett, the running back coach. Not saying that should or shouldn't happen. I have no opinion on it. He's just the first, or Jake Moreland, whoever, tight end coach, running back, whoever, Gerard Johnson, whoever. Like, does the word of mouth just travel? Do you already have something in mind? I would think you probably have something in mind, but like, how does that work?
Well, I would imagine when something like that opens up, you probably have a pretty good amount of people who you've ever crossed paths with reaching out saying, I can do this. And then you've got to kind of sort through it. They decided not to make any changes on offense, though. They made one change. They made one change to the coaching staff that wasn't the coordinator,
which was crazy.
And then they added a guy who coached in New England and was coached to John Carroll.
How many points do they need to score to win?
24.
24.
Who is stopping Gronk and who is stopping Christian McCaffrey?
Gronk.
Not Gronk. Kittle, excuse me.
You think he's going to look like Gronk?
Who is stopping Kittle and who is stopping Christian McCaffrey?
So in the 49ers wins, they've scored 17 against Seattle. That was when their defense was healthy. They scored 26 against the Saints, 16 against the Cardinals, 26 against the Rams, and then 20 against the Falcons. So I think you could be right. I think you could be right.
The Falcons are no slouches at defense. They're probably not as respected as what the Texans have on defense, but
how do you think DeMeco would feel though if he loses in consecutive weeks to that offense that he adores, that he gave up for Caserio?
I would at that point, you know what I would do? If I was DeMeco, I'd walk in Monday morning, I'd fire Nick Caley, I'd hand the thing to Gerard Johnson and say, run the Shanahan system.
What does Gerard Johnson want to run? Do we even know?
I don't care. I'm going to tell him to run the Shanahan system. You
So
coached in it. You know how it works. Go do it.
put in a whole system, huh? Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think that would work.
Oh, sticking with Kaylee's not going to work.
Probably not. Probably not.
But no, DeMeco's, I mean, you know, I'm sure it'll be the players' faults.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Or although be like a vague, like that's on me. Oh well. It's been a wild week, guys. It's been a short week. It's been a wild week. It's gonna be a fun game. Cody and I will be on the scene. Again, join us at Spanky's next Friday, Sharpstown, Halloween. We will be there in full effect. Come celebrate with us. Whether they win or lose, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Now, I didn't go with we're all in this together. I just kind of said it, you know?